Hi you guys, thank you for tuning in. My name is Amazaday and I am a 25-year-old fine art photographer, and I also run my own photography and video business. So today I wanted to sit down and chat with you guys about anxiety, and I wanted to provide you with 10 tips on how to deal with anxiety and just use this energy in a positive way to really get your business off the ground, and use this energy to help you plan things out, provide you with a standard that you should follow for all of your clients. Alrighty, so tip number 1, start working with friends. So working with friends is honestly such a powerful tool to help you understand how to direct people. And when I had started as a photographer, I asked my friend to model all the time, and I'm gonna go ahead and insert some pictures here. Of course, this is my super old work from high school, so I feel like I've come a long way, but I really appreciate that my friends really put themselves out there for me, so thank you guys. But yeah, using friends is going to help you become so much more comfortable and familiar with the way bodies look. Now, if you are someone who is homeschooled or does not really have access to other people, what I would encourage you to do is start working with yourself and just start taking self-portraits and really understand what are some flattering poses for different people. Just using yourself and really becoming familiar with the way bodies look is great. So that would be my tip number 1. Use friends or use yourself to really learn how to work with bodies and how to direct people, and just putting actions into words so that the models can provide you with what you are actually looking for. So let's say that you have found someone to help you photograph a theme, right? So what I would advise, or my tip number 2, is communicate your vision to that person and open up the dialogue for a collaboration. So as artists, we have the vision that we want to get across. However, if you start working with a model, the best thing to do is you want to ask them, hey, do you have any ideas that we can incorporate into the photo shoot, or what are your thoughts on these? If you open up this dialogue before the actual photo shoot, that will take away from having to deal with difficult conversations during the actual photo shoot. And more than likely, this person will have valid concerns about the shoot, or they will probably open up about maybe concerns they have about like their image or things that they don't feel comfortable working with, which is totally fine because you want your model to be comfortable. And I think just bringing up this conversation beforehand is going to take care of those difficult conversations before your actual shoots, so that on your shoot, both of you guys are aware of your boundaries, and this will allow you to use your time wisely. Being completely honest, I have worked with plenty of models that have provided me with great ideas, or if I was telling them my vision, they would be like, oh my god, this reminds me of this. What if we try this? Or what if I bring this? And that is the fun about working with people, is that you have your own vision and they have their own vision of how things are gonna go, and merging them together is what helps magic happen. So let's say that you have worked with friends for a couple of months or even years now, and you feel comfortable to start charging, right? So now you're dealing with actual customers. So this customer is now your partner, and they are expecting a certain quality from your work, and you want to make sure that you understand what they want from your photo shoot. My tip number 3 is schedule a face-to-face meeting with your client. And this is probably when you will start getting that feeling on your chest of, oh God, I've never had a meeting with a client. This is so different. There's so many things to think about. So I did provided you with a few tips to include during your meeting. So I would advise to schedule your meeting with your client at a coffee shop. That way you can go ahead and buy them a coffee, or both of you guys can be in more of like a relaxed setting, just chatting and having fun. And once you are there, you're gonna find that just meeting your client face to face and having a dialogue is going to take your anxiety to a lower level, because you're no longer dealing with someone just over an email where it's hard to tell someone's tone and it's hard for your personality to come across to them. So once you have set a date for your meeting, I want you to create a few talking points. Let's go ahead and review those. The point of your meeting is to listen, inform, and collaborate. So let's go ahead and start with listening. In order for you to listen and to be able to understand what the client wants, you want to go ahead and ask them a few questions about themselves. So for example, I have these written down. Have you guys lived here for long? Have you guys always lived in Washington or in California? When did you guys move here? How did you guys meet? How many people will be at the shoot? Do you guys have any pets? Do you guys have any kids? Do you want to go ahead and bring your pets? So these are just a few examples of like really basic questions that will make your client tell you highlights of their life. This is your opportunity to listen to them. Once you have understood their vision and now you know a few additional details about their life, it is time for you to present to them what you can offer to them, and always make sure that this is in writing. And I am actually going to be creating a video on why contracts are important. So once that you have provided them with what you can offer, it is time for you to guide them. Really show them that you are the professional here and that you know what you're talking about. So this can be very simple, such as letting them know, hey, bring a jacket because it might get cold, and very important to bring flat shoes because we're gonna be walking around in grassy or rocky areas and I don't want anyone to get hurt. If you're planning on bringing your dog, please bring a leash. Based on the conversation that you've had with your client, you can also let them know, hey, I would suggest to wear these colors. Of course, you're always free to choose the colors that you want to wear, but these look the best on camera, such as like, I love mustards, and here in Washington we have a lot of greenery, so mustards and reds always look beautiful on pictures. So that is something that I try to communicate, and just give them a few tips. Give them a few tips on what will create what you are looking for and what will create what they are looking for. It's very important that on your meeting you ask them to keep a flexible schedule. So here in Washington, guys, we can expect rain about 85% of the time. And when I just started working with clients here in Washington, it was different than in California, because in California you don't really expect rain really ever. Here in Washington, at first I started to get a lot of anxiety because there were a few times when I had to reschedule my shoot, and I didn't want this to look negative on me, but I just knew that we were honestly not gonna have a good time if it was raining. In addition to me not wanting to get my gear wet, and my gear is waterproof. However, if the rain is falling on my lens and I have to keep wiping my lens, I run the risk of not being able to provide you with the highest quality photos that I can. So I'm not even sure if I have been like calling out what numbers, but that would be my tip number 5, guys. Yeah, always ask them to maintain a flexible schedule. It is no one's fault that it's gonna be raining, and knowing that they are flexible with the way that the weather is going to be just really gives you that peace of mind of them understanding that it's not because you forgot, or it's not because it no longer fits in your day. No, it's because you want to provide them with the highest quality photos and you want them to have fun during the photo shoot. Tip number 6 is check with your clients 3 days before your photo shoot. So Doing this will allow you to, first of all, check the forecast and let them know, hey, it seems like there is going to be a really high chance of rain, so I think we're gonna have to reschedule. Or if you notice that there's not really a chance of rain, what I would advise you to do is still check up on them and ask them to provide you with a few photos of their outfits, and this will help you visualize what they will look like. And if you are following up with your photo shoot, but there is even like the slight chance of rain, I would advise you to over prepare and purchase umbrellas for your customers, because it's super likely that you're just gonna use these as props and these will look super cute. So I'm gonna go ahead and insert a few photos here. Alright guys, so I think this is my tip number 8. I'm sorry, I've been merging my tips together because they kind of come hand in hand. My next tip is to visit the location at least 1 hour before your shoot. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this if you have worked in that location multiple times before and you are super familiar with it. But what I found is that every day the lighting is different, and I am someone who likes to backlight my subjects so that they have this really nice like background glow. I'm able to visualize so much better when I'm there, and things look so different based on lighting. So I choose my locations a lot of the times based on the lighting. So visit your location before your actual shoot, and I would advise you to develop a path for you and your customers. That way you guys are not just walking around the park, which is totally something you can do if that's your style. But if my client only has 1 hour with me, I want to make it as valuable as possible. My next tip is to learn from other people. There are so many resources online now, and it's pretty fantastic, guys. Everything I have learned, I learned from the internet, and there are so many great photographers that just post their work out there. So there is no shame in learning from other people. In fact, I find that we are in such a place of privilege that this information is free instead of us having to pay. Of course, if you like someone's work, always support them by giving them a like or leaving a comment, or even emailing them and saying thank you, I learned so much from this, because that really does mean a lot to the artist. And you know, you can always make notes to yourself, you can always save photos on your phone, you can even show this to your client and say, hey, this is the vision that I have, so let's go ahead and try to recreate something close to this. Of course, always having your style in the shoot. So we are at my final tip, guys, and honestly, one of the most important tips that I could ever give out is have a calendar, guys. Having a calendar, or even better, having a planner, is going to allow you to take your ideas or take your anxieties off your head and turn them into actions. Because what is the point of overthinking something or knowing that there is something that you have to improve on if you don't actually take an action to do this? So having a planner will allow you to think, okay, so I should check with my client 3 days beforehand. So I'm gonna go ahead and write it on that date. And now when I see it, I will know. And I can prepare myself mentally because I keep seeing this thing. So I'm gonna take some time out of my day on Tuesday so that I can review the questions that I wanna ask them. And then on Wednesday, we'll have our meeting, and it just helps you visualize your plans, and it helps you get them out of your head, which, being completely honest, is a lot of where anxiety comes from, is you overthinking things and thinking that they're not gonna come out right because you feel like you're probably gonna forget. And you will probably forget, guys. Like, I am someone who forgets a lot, and that's why I have a calendar with me, and I don't think that I would have been able to accomplish anything that I have today if I didn't hold myself accountable and gave deadlines to myself. So yeah, Well guys, I hope that you guys have found these tips helpful. If you have any additional tips, please leave them in the comment section for us to read. You guys have a fantastic day, and yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys soon.